Hello and welcome to Media Lite, where we treat each piece of media like great literature, specifically the media that we are interested in right now. Joining me as always is my wonderful co-host, Kris Ingersoll. Kris, how you doing here tonight?
So good, buddy. So good. When was the last time that we were so excited about a Marvel property that we had to stop? We had to stop what we were doing and have a media light about it.
Well, I'm actually very well equipped to answer that question, Kris, because it's been nearly 1 year. It's nearly the 1 year anniversary of the day we celebrated the 5 year anniversary of Avengers Endgame, with a really lovely little pod where we dug into our top emotional moments.
That was a lovely pod, man. I can't believe it's been a year since then. That felt like it was wild that it was a 5 years since Endgame. We're just so old. But how are you?
hmm Oh, I'm doing incredibly well, man. I got to go check out Thunderbolts this weekend, and I am now here to talk about it with you. This is incredibly fun and exciting. There is a chance that you might even be looking at our lovely faces. We are going to be going after the Kelseys for sexiest podcasters of the year this year. And I'm just so excited to make that vision board item a reality.
Yeah, I mean, podlings at home. I don't know. This might be the first time you ever see our faces live on a pod. So, hello, it's nice to meet you all. If this is the first time you do get to see us, howdy.
Excellent. All right, so Kris, this is a media light after all. You know I can talk all night, but we've got to get this show on the road, so that we can get out of here and get ready to publish our regularly scheduled episode on Monday. So, we are going to do a true mini media lit episode, and rather than introduce our subject for the night, Thunderbolts, with a full Randy summary with all of my thoughts and jokes and witticisms, I have narrowed it down to one sentence, Kris, for you to then comment upon and let me know if there's anything you'd like to add and fill in before we get deeper into sort of our instant reactions and what we really loved about this film. So, in one sentence, here is Thunderbolts. A disillusioned former assassin finds peace by adopting a depressed 30 something, a corrupt CIA director, and a guinea pig, with the help of her estranged father and her new frenemies.
Oh, this is so good. The reason this is so, I mean, fun, funny, hits all the most important beats. If the guinea pig hadn't appeared in the summary, we would have had something to talk about. But most seriously, what this really truly captures is the idea that Elena is our protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Really, truly, this could have been a Black Widow movie, with a whole bunch of frenemies around her. So you captured that beautifully. And while John Walker might not appreciate being lumped into the category of just some frenemies, I think he captured the heart of the film pretty well here.
Thank you so much, Kris. I really appreciate it. So, where do you want to go first? Do you want to talk about some laughs? Do you want to talk about what made us cry? Where are we going?
Yeah, fortunately, this film was full of like really authentic excuses of both, right? So let's start with funny. Let's keep it nice and light. What was your favorite gag of the film?
I feel like it's a cheat just to say every single thing Red Guardian. But that's kind of what I am tempted to say. They're
Dude,
like
that's in my notes. It says O.X.E, but that's in my notes.
so like there are a million incredible gags in the limo. I think I'm gonna keep the limo sequence open to you in case you want to go there. Maybe you're gonna go there, maybe you're not. But I'm just gonna go with like the moment that kicked it all off, which is just after the very like harrowing escape from the vaults, and not imagining that Bob could have possibly survived what just went down. When Red Guardian first shows up to like let them know that it's a trap, like this is all going horribly wrong, but he's just way too late. Just the poorly timed warning is a classic gag, and he sells it so hard. They further sell the joke later when he can't seem to accelerate past, I think it was like 55 miles per hour. Great stuff.
Yeah, he couldn't quite break 56. And that, yeah, that sort of classic gag of the too late warning is sold perfectly by David Harbour,
Yeah.
but it's it's preempted by Elena's perfect portrayal of the embarrassed teen. as he pulls
Mm-hmm.
up, tooting the horn. So yeah, the whole sequence is just a ton of fun. And yeah, I had all the O.X.E stuff because he reminded me of my own dad. My father, no free ads, just established Gold Wing Carriage Service LLC, his own livery service. My father's now a limo driver,
Beautiful.
and so Alexi, it's not even funny. So yeah, from the moment he was cursing his dasher for not leaving the order at the door as instructed, I was with Alexi for the rest of this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when I was trying to pick a virtual background for this Zoom, I instantly knew it had to be the limo. So if you're watching this right now, I've got Red Guardian's limo parked right outside. How about for you?
Fantastic.
What was your top laugh in this movie?
So I guess if we're not doing like Alexi wants to market everything, everything is funny to Alexi, I guess maybe just generally John Walker is dumb is a fun gag throughout the film,
Yes.
specifically the way that Yelena and Ghost really they team up to be able to rib on him, and then uh you've got Bob in the background, like at least laughing along, if not getting in his own little digs here and there.
Yeah.
It's perfect because Joan Walker isn't just a punching bag. It's not like they're punching down by any means, right? We're punching up to a guy who thinks quite highly of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's balanced by the fact that he is, other than being wicked dumb, really effective in action, right? They're in the desert. He knows what they can eat.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the goods. He's effective in battle. So, like, yeah, it never really is a blow to his ego as they pick on him, but he's not totally unaware of it either. So it's like effective ribbing in that way. He's not oblivious to the impact, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't quite get him down either.
Yeah, they had to really thread the needle on that one because, there are parts of Falcon and Winter Soldier I enjoyed, and parts of Falcon and Winter Soldier that didn't work as well for me. But they successfully sold John Walker as an asshole and someone I hate. So to acknowledge that and own that, and still try to find a path forward for us to maybe open up to this guy in time as part of this ragtag team of anti-heroes, as Alexei calls them.
Yeah,
It,
man.
yeah, it's the move.
I
But
I can't believe how much more I want to see John Walker now. Like I hated him.
yeah,
I hated the character, not I didn't hate the character's inclusion. I
yeah.
hated the character, right? And now I can't wait to see more of this person and see this person interact with more heroes that I care about, other characters that I care about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned John Walker was dumb. He was giving me Adam Pally from like the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. Every
Nice.
time he drops the cowl, he's got some scruff going and like the voice, the intonation, it was all there. All right. We can't linger here in the laughs forever. I'm sure we'll circle back to Thunderbolts at some point in the future. But let's do what we do best here on Media Lit, our most emotional moments. Chris, I'm going to feed this one right back to you. What's your top emotional moment from Thunderbolts? I suspect I know.
I don't know because, I guess I will go right for the heart of it. I'll let you be maybe more nuanced, but this film chooses not to punch its big bad in the end. It chooses to hug its big bad in the end. That could have been really corny. That could have been
Hmm.
forced. That could have been totally cringy and eye rolly. But it worked because this film did the work ahead of time to build up our care for these people, our belief in their trauma, and in the idea that they are not just their trauma, that that is a thing that they carry, that they struggle with. They're not defined by their bad deeds. They're not defined by their good deeds. They're just humans who need to come together to get along. Um, I won't go too heavy. Fortunately, I'm in a better place now, but it's been a tough couple of weeks, and
Hmm.
suicide has been very present in my life in the recent past. And to go sit there and watch this movie was unexpected,
Hmm.
but well timed. It was cathartic. That scene worked for me when when I thought that Bob was going to have to punch his void self into submission. I was
Hmm.
immediately deflated. I was already running through my head the way I wanted to speak about the way that falls short of the message that we should have here. And when it wasn't about that, when it was about accepting all parts of ourselves, the parts that we regret, the parts that we don't think are worthy,
Hmm.
the good and the bad, when it became about embracing that and allowing ourselves to be embraced by others, I was so moved. So um yeah, I was going to try to be more clever about this answer, but the truth is I wept there in the theater. I had laughed throughout the whole movie. It had other artful moments, but nothing that cut me to the core the way this this finish really did. You saw it was coming. I was like, no, they're not going to have to. Oh my gosh, they're doing it. And then they were all hugging. And like I said, it should be silly. It could be silly, but it's not. Every actor sold it. The writing
Yeah.
sold it, and
Hmm.
I was here for it.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I was a little bit tongue in cheek with my one sentence summary, but I mean, the glue that's going to hold these misfits together is, they basically did adopt Bob.
Hmm.
Like we've got you, man. Like you are here, you are along for the ride. I assume we will activate Sentry at some point down the line, but we know that's a very dangerous prospect, and they are going to be there. They're ready to hug it out
Mm.
24/7. It really is beautiful. Um, and I even threw Valentina in there because obviously she is using them. She is trouble. But even she got a brief moment to make us feel for her, to see the roots of her childhood. So if they really commit to this team moving forward, I would love to see that relationship evolve into something that moves closer toward trust or something like that. But for my top emotional moment, I've just got to hit like the father-daughter pep
Hmm.
talk. Um, just Alexa taking Elena aside and convincing her that she has worth, she is valuable, that she brings joy to people, that she cares about people. As corny as it was, the line about the reason why she wanted to be the goalie, to have everyone's back if they make a mistake, was so beautiful. And the way this attempt to reinvent herself piggybacks off of like her sort of girls' night out with Kate Bishop back in
Hmm.
Hawkeye. I am so thrilled that it looks like they are doubling down on Yelena because she's their star. She's their star power, and this is a smart move as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. You know I'm a sucker for the daddy daughter stuff.
Hmm.
Um, when she's crying and she kind of half laughs. Okay, that was pretty good, she says.
Hmm.
She's so brilliant. Florence Pugh is so
Hmm.
brilliant. I'm grateful that not that they'd have to be dumb not to notice, but yes, it does seem that Marvel has caught on that they have got something truly special in Yelena. Perhaps the kind of charisma that only Tony brought before.
Yeah.
She different kind of character, but I think she's when I think of who's got the juice in the MCU now, who's got the charisma bomb, it's Yelena. I can't wait to see more of her. I almost picked for my emotional moment every time she quietly closed her eyes and took a deep breath in the movie.
Mm.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, and even just being the first one to figure out that these, apocalyptic, like atomic bomb shadow destructions of people are actually folks being sucked inside the void who might be able to
Hmm.
come back out. Yeah. So th I think this might set up our next topic of discussion perfectly.
Yeah, tell me, for you, who was the MVP of the film?
Yeah, I think we might have accidentally jumped ahead because we're so excited to talk about Yelena. I think I'm
Yeah.
going to say like the answer is Yelena. I'm not like really interested in trying to challenge that, so I'm just going to give you a quick runner up. My runner up, uh, I could say Red Guardian, but I'm going to take this moment. I'm going to shout out Bob.
Mm.
I'm going to shout out Lewis Pullman. Um, just the way he was like giving me all of like the boyish charm of his father, Bill Pullman. Someone who I've loved, from Spaceballs to Independence Day. He had that,
Casper,
but
the friendly ghost.
absolutely Casper. I did not mean to leave that off the list. Um, but I love that like we've seen Bill Pullman do the full range. He can do like the doe-eyed, goofy goofball, and he
Hmm.
can be dead serious. And Lewis Pullman had to capture that range, and he's going to have to continue to capture that range moving forward. And it was just so charming to see him there, you know, on the couch, chilling in Avengers HQ. And I'm just so excited to see that dynamic play out. And I felt like he was having the most fun playing like chill Bob. So I'm eager to spend more time. When they were up there in the Avengers Tower at the end, I was actually thinking of Inside Out, like they were the emotions.
Hmm.
At
Okay,
the end
yeah.
of Inside Out 2, they're trying to keep anxiety like chill in her chair, and I was like, all right, this is a great look for the new Avengers. I love it.
Yeah, more anxiety, I guess, than embarrassment because the way he's sort of just lounging about, he could be
Yeah.
ennui as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, great call out. I think that's a fair assessment, right? If we've already identified Elena is the protagonist of the film, certainly the performance here from a young Mr. Pullman is moving and a lot to look forward to
Yeah.
in the future. Yeah, I guess I'll try to be interesting too. There's probably an argument to say the team is the MVP
Mm.
of the film, right? That this is the first time I think we've seen a fresh new pairing, a new grouping of characters that is exciting to and something I want to look forward to seeing again. And I said that the way I meant it. I want to experience the anticipation
Hmm.
of seeing them again. I'm excited to see them again, but I'm also excited to live in the lead up to that because this is the first time I think a property has been so uniting for the fans. Everybody loves it, and we can all sort of together be hyped about what comes next. But that was a smuggle, Randy. That's not my answer. This is my
Love a
opportunity.
smuggle.
This is my opportunity to celebrate Valentina. You shouted her out very
Yeah.
briefly during the emotional segment. I almost picked her for my emotional moment simply because her performance is so strong.
Yeah.
When she's had that quick flashback to her past and she sees that Bob saw her and then she comes back into the present, the
Hmm.
look Valentina has, it's unlike anything else we see from her throughout the rest of the movie. It's the briefest glimpse of something else beneath the surface. And shout out to Julie Louis-Dreyfus. I mean, unbelievable in this role. She's giving Nick Fury and Amanda Waller and doing it just as well, if not better than
Yeah.
both of them for that combination. She's slippery. She's nimble. She is witty and dangerous. When she chopped my guy in the throat and took his
Hmm.
communication device, I was moved. Valentina might be my one of my new favorites. So shout out to her, if not for how strong Elena is, and Bob. I think Valentina is stands quite well on her own in this film.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quick shout out to Hannah John Kamen as Ghost. I feel like she was coming into the movie with like the least existing character development from Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I thought she sold some humor, and I hope that that character can continue to come to life and like be this sarcastic sort of force who is eager to just go through that wall and get out of the situation and regroup. Could be fun moving forward.
Hmm.
Uh, but Chris, we are on Media Lit, so we can't get out of here before we attempt to make just a quick literary or pop culture reference. What other literature or pop culture was on your mind as you watched Thunderbolts?
Do you want me to give you badass or funny?
Let's start with badass and then smuggle in the funny.
Come on, Terminator 2.
Hmm.
Bucky on the motorcycle, full black leather, sunglasses. He even goes out of his way to get his hands on a shotgun
Yep.
so he can make use of a shotgun on his motorcycle in this sequence with his metal arm. The Terminator references were like just pinging so hard. I mean, it was kind of generic 90s, late 80s, early 90s action guy in general, but it was such a clear homage to the Terminator. I was thrilled, absolutely tickled when he punched his hand in the ground.
Yeah. And let's not downplay his full blowout, just in all its glory.
I aren't, and this is why Arnold could never, right? The crew cut doesn't quite have the same majesty on the open
Yep.
road as that Bucky flow. So yeah,
Hmm.
that was certainly the pop culture reference for me.
Yeah.
I'll smuggle my funny one if it's not your main pick. What's your
Sure. No, I'm actually going kind of dark. I was thinking of one of my favorite shows of recent memory, but it's not a feel-good show. It's HBO's Barry, starring Bill
Ugh.
Hader.
Mhm.
An incredibly dark show, um, dressed up as a sitcom sort of dramedy. We've got this hitman who's been trained and programmed from a young age to kill people, to murder people, and he decides he wants out. Because you, as an audience member, are like, okay, I'm in a fantasy world. There's a part of you that wants to hope and believe that Barry can put his act together. You've got some reason to pity him and know he was structured to be this way. But that show is just so like cruelly realistic and like the
Mm.
reality of it being impossible to come back from that. Um, ultimately wins out in the end. Now, I don't think Thunderbolts is trying to do that, but I love the idea that Yelena, she is an assassin who's literally trained and brought up in this system, and she wants a new look. She wants to be a hero. She wants a new face. And in the world of superheroes, that kind of thing is possible. And to put her around a bunch of other people who also need a redemption arc pretty badly, and for them to have the sort of stakes to fight against that they can maybe use some of their darker qualities and tendencies to maybe do some good in the world. I'm kind of excited to know that her reform is actually going to play out, and I'm going to get to enjoy that. I love the realism of Barry, but I'm also excited for the feel-good vibes of watching this journey for Yelena. So, Barry,
Brilliantly stated. Yeah, we come to movies to hope, right? I like that.
yep,
There's a place for something like Barry, but ultimately I go to the cinema, especially
yeah,
to films like this, to feel a little bit of hope in the end. So
mm-hmm,
great call. I love that. My funny one.
yes,
You recall the Disney animated classic Emperor's New Groove?
oh yeah,
Come on, the whole elevator shaft. How are you not picturing Cusco making his way up back to back with Mr.
beautiful.
Goodman? So good. Yeah.
I forgot about that sequence, but the second you said it, I could see it. Like it just kind of popped into my brain. And yeah, love that call out. Super fun.
What a great set piece. A mile they went like that. Unbelievable.
Yeah. While we're laughing, just a quick honorable mention, shout out to Bucky's chili dog, uh, landing all over his packet. Uh, it pretty effectively communicated that politics are not for our boy.
No, no, I don't know how many congressmen and women are in their kitchen with the chili dog in one hand and the packet in the other.
Yeah.
So good. All right, dude, we did it, I think, right? We did a little bit of fun, a little bit of
Hmm.
heart. We named it MVP. So we got to grade the thing. Teacher, give it to me. What's your grade for Thunderbolts?
Yeah, I'm giving this a solid A minus. I'm being a little bit of a tough grader because I want to give it some room to grow. I want to make sure I'm continuing to push this franchise. The only thing that keeps it from being a perfect A for me, because I'm pretty excited about this. Um, when I look at the entire MCU, I look at the original Guardians of the Galaxy, and that so perfectly introduced me to every character of the team. And so just perfectly beat by beat brought them together and turned them into a family. Um, and I think this movie was tasked with throwing a lot of characters together with a lot of baggage attached to them. Um, so they had to do a lot of like course correction and didn't necessarily have time to give everyone as much of a story as I would have loved. Like I shouted out Ghost later. I think she did great in the movie. I'm not even suggesting they needed to like make this 10 minutes longer to give her more scenes. Um, I just think it was starting from a tough place, but I think moving forward, the possibilities are endless. It's just not as perfect as something like Guardians for the team up.
That's a great nuance to draw, right? And it gives them room to
Yeah.
grow. And it's fair when you're looking at the past body of work.
Hmm.
Certainly Ghost doesn't get the same development as some of the characters right there in Guardians. So it isn't so much about not having the benefit in past films. Guardians
Yep.
did it in the one film, right? So that's a great call out. I think that's really fair.
Mm.
I'm going to be a little bit more generous than you are. I'm going to give them the A here. It isn't a perfect grade. This isn't an A plus by any
Yep.
means. I want them to have room to grow. Also, I see the same opportunities you see. Some of what I think maybe hurt Ghost compared to the other characters is that she has no connective tissue to anybody else
Yep.
in this movie. Even Taskmaster had something of a link to Yelena and therefore a little bit larger piece of our hearts. So um, it is an A though, because the
Mhm.
student who handed this in has been putting out a real volume of work lately. And it's been fairly inconsistent. And so I'm so thrilled and encouraged to see this student turn in this quality of work, this level of competency,
Yeah.
and I want them to feel encouraged by it. So you got an A. Great work. Keep it up.
No, I love that assessment. Like a question you have to ask yourself in this day and age sometimes, which I never feel good when I'm asking, but it's like, did this student use generative AI to
Oh,
create this assignment? Um, and this is an assignment where I can feel the humanity and the love right there on the page. And it's clear we saw a project that someone really cared about. So I love your grade there. Fantastic work. All right, so we did it. We only are a few minutes past our goal time right now, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty impressed with us. I'm pretty excited. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to shout out some things coming up in the very near future. Coming up right on Monday, we are dropping our next full episode of Media Lit. It's going to be a very serious and emotional deep dive into Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail, uh, a seminal U.S. document. And it's been a minute since Media Lit's just done like a 100% full emotion. Let's get into something heavy and important. And it was a really moving chat. So I'm excited to share that with everyone. Um, and if that sounds too heavy for you, a couple weeks after that, we've got a very fun Marvel draft coming up. Kris, you want to tell people what you concocted for us? I know I'm usually the game master, but you really stepped up.
Yeah, listen, we had some thoughts around Marvel's big announcement just a few weeks ago. They rolled out some chairs. Perhaps you heard something about
Hmm.
this. We know who's going to be in Doomsday, at least for the most part. And Rennie and I thought it would be a great idea to play with those characters draft style ahead of time. And so we're going to get together with some friends and we're going to draft our own little sub teams from within that larger body of announced characters. And we're going to try and pitch you a little preamble, a prologue, if you will, to whatever those characters might be doing in Doomsday. So tune in for a first part draft where we build our teams and a second part pitch where we get to tell you exactly what we think those characters should be doing in the lead up to this big, big movie event.
Yeah, I absolutely cannot wait. And I know our guests have both reached out to me to tell me they are very excited. So, yeah, coming right down the line. Kris, before we head out, where can people find all of our stuff? We've spread to so many social media outlets now. Which one do you feel like plugging today? Because we've got links to everywhere from everywhere. I don't think I need to make you run down the entire list.
Yeah, you know what? First and foremost, I want you guys to check out the Instagram. We're
Yep.
on all of the socials. Check out media.lit.pod on Instagram. There you're going to see some announcements of our
Mhm.
upcoming episodes and the homework that you can be doing to prepare for it. Yes, you can get involved in the conversation. Watch the thing, listen to the thing, read the thing ahead of time, and join the conversation. So what I really want to pitch tonight is the email inbox. You can find us at media.slash.lit@gmail.com. So like, subscribe, comment everywhere else, but get in that inbox and let's have a conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Hey, what do you have going on outside of Media Lit? You're a busy guy.
I am a busy guy these days. So aside from this wonderful podcast, I had a great privilege. I don't know when it will publish relative to when this publishes, but ladies and gentlemen, I finally got to guest on Randy's other pod, which he'll talk more about, but Pod of Doom, talking
Hmm.
Black Sabbath. I just joined Randy and the Mancini brothers to talk about a whole album right after the O.X.E days. We talked Heaven and Hell. So that will publish very, very soon on the Pop
Yeah.
Break podcast feed. But you can find me regularly once a month on that same Pop Break podcast feed, as I am the co host of the Batman by the Numbers podcast. I get together with my buddy Dan Cohen, often Alex Marcus as well, and we talk all things Dark Knight. This year, we are in our world's finest era. It is the year of Superman. So we're doing a little bit of Kryptonian talk too, but catch us over there
Yep.
on the Pop Break TV feed. And I'm also an actor and a voice actor. I'm a father and a husband. You can find me doing all those things on Instagram at Kris_Ingersoll. That's Chris spelled like Kringle.
And I'm your host, Randy Elaine. Uh, find Media Lit. From there, you're going to find me. You're going to find my portfolio. You can find me on the Pop Break podcast feed on Pod of Doom with the Mancini twins. And like Kris said, with him, you can find all sorts of entertainment writing. I've been writing up a storm in 2025. I've covered Severance week to week. I'm in the midst of covering season 2 of Doctor Who on Disney Plus week to week. I've been part of a mighty triumvirate working to cover Andor along with Bill Bodkin, the editor of the Pop Break, and Amanda Hoffman, who I also found out just got to interview the composer for Andor. So I'm really pumped to read that article when it drops on the site. It should be coming out really soon. And yeah, find us here. Hopefully you're watching us on YouTube right now, and that's another great place to find all of our work. Folks, we did it. I'm so excited about what that asterisk wound up meaning at the end of Thunderbolts. Welcome to the new Avengers.
Pouring out for Taskmaster.